So, Nick Vinn, Hobart number 2, is that right?
Hobart number 3 actually, but certainly the most difficult. The Hobart always has absolutely everything, lots of intense weather and those moments of boredom, and it rips you apart 1 minute and then bores you to death the next, and it's always exhausting but always good.
There would have been times there when this boat was really sending it. What sort of speeds were you doing?
Look, we were doing, at times, 30 knots, and you felt every single one of them. I mean, when it's down, it's really down, and, you're absolutely rocketing off waves. Even with sort of 2 reefs in, you're still flying. And it's not just the speed you're doing, I think it's the speed you're doing in the sea state. That's what this boat is designed to do, go around the world in the toughest conditions. And we're absolutely, flying into waves. I've never been as wet in my entire life. I think I'll take a few days to dry out. It was, like a saturating experience.
Compared to Rio, very different again?
Yeah, completely different. For one, the food was a little bit better on this boat. Obviously, it's an Italian boat, so we had wonderful pasta and risotto, and certainly different when things go wrong. There's at least 4 different languages. We had French, Italian, and of course Spanish as well. So I can now swear in at least 4 languages and change a sail in maybe 2 or 3.
So you must be getting a bit of sea miles now under your belt. I mean, what's your job on the boat these days?
I was just trimming and just trying to file as much as I could, but there were times when it was very, very, very difficult to do anything. The boat was firing around a lot. And as I said, it's really wet, so it's pretty difficult trying to file at the best of times, as you can appreciate.
And you can imagine what the onboard media members in the Volvo race have to put up with when that's just one small few days of it.
I don't know how they do it. They must be very, very patient and very good at what they do. I'm exhausted after 3 days. I can't imagine how they do those long legs.
And are you going to come back?
I don't think so. I got married last week, so this is my honeymoon. I think I'm probably pushing it if I come back again.
If you got married last week, I take it you're not going to use this as the combined honeymoon.
Well, no. But look, I mean, you know how fun it is. You've been covering these for long enough to know that they're, you say you'll never come back, and you probably will. So, no for now, but I'll see you next year.
What do you make of Giovanni and all his team? They're pretty experienced, yeah?
To be honest, I feel a little embarrassed because I didn't know how much of an accomplished yachtsman Giovanni was. It only took me 5 minutes on the boat to realise the guy is an absolute yachting superstar. Amazingly calm, patient. It was hilarious at the start of the race. There was a lot of commotion, and there were a few boats that actually got taken down. Giovanni, in perfect English, was like, everyone wanted a photo of him because he's such a rock star. At the same time, he was like, please, give us our space. Very calm. You might have seen at the start, we got tangled up in some buoys as well, and he was just so calm, so cool, and so hilarious as well. I mean, the atmosphere on this boat was world class.
So how did you manage to get across the languages? Are you good in Spanish and Italian?
Well, as I said before, I can swear in all of them now, but not so much. I suppose I know I'm hungry and thank you, and a few other ones that I couldn't repeat. But look, everyone was really welcoming. I mean, there were 3 or 4 Aussies on the boat, so they were speaking English the whole time, unless things started to go wrong, and then it was just, I think it's, you're just trying to use a bit of common sense.
And you had Liz Wardley on the boat, is that right? And how did she fare?
Yeah, I mean, Liz, again, puts anyone to shame. She's, incredible. Her work ethic on the boat is just amazing. When you're exhausted, you haven't slept, she's the first to spring out. Embarrassed to say I was a little seasick at one point, and she was up there with a big beaming face, and I just said, Liz, I'm feeling terrible, and she just said, just throw up right at my feet, don't worry about it, it'll be gone in 10 seconds anyway. Thankfully, didn't throw up, managed to hold it down, but that's just, testament to how hard a worker she is and how even at your most vulnerable, she still makes you feel like you're part of the team.
And as a broadcaster, this is a really good test of sort of how you stick with filing and everything else as well, I take it.
It definitely is the most high pressure environment I can imagine working in. Obviously for a sports journalist, there's nothing that comes close to it, I don't think. Just trying to stay upright is a challenge, and obviously being young helps because you are getting thrown around the boat a lot. Like, I'm certainly nursing a few bumps and bruises that weren't there at the start, and on top of that, the editorial pressures. It's like, why haven't you filed? Well, I'm in the middle of Bass Strait. We've got no satellite phone connection, and I think I might have a broken arm. So it's a challenge.
So by comparison, cycling will seem fairly straightforward.
Well, exactly. I can't wait to get back to the Giro. It's going to be a piece of cake.
So Liz Wardley, another Hobart under your belt, and straight after the Volvos. How does that compare?
It's pretty cool. So that's number 5 now, and it was an awesome Hobart. It was everything you asked for in a Hobart, and after finishing the Volvo and now sailing with a bunch of Italian guys, it's a bit of an eye opener for me, and it's been great to get back out there offshore and with some other people, and it was good fun.
And what were the highlights for you?
I think the highlights were the second front that went through. It was pretty. It wasn't extreme, but it was good fun, and it was perfect conditions for our boat. So we managed to just push the whole way, and it was good.
Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing in the latter half there with the breeze panning out.
I know. So yesterday was a bit tedious. We didn't have much breeze, and all the sails we have aren't really adapted. We don't have the big code 0 that the boat would have had for around the world race. So we definitely felt it there. But that's right.
And what was your job? Were you watch captain or?
Yeah, I was one of the watch captains. Yep, and so managing to yell at some Italian guys. It was funny.
So how do you manage on a boat there with a couple of languages, I think at least? How do you manage in that environment?
Well, there was 4 languages going on. Luckily, I speak 2 of them. But it's just a matter of knowing the boat and understanding what's going on, really, and then you can get by.
A lot of the Volvo guys say that you go around the world and this still is some of the hardest sailing you do. Is that your experience?
Well, when you get into Bass Strait, it's so shallow, so the sea state comes up, and also the shift was so abrupt. It's rare, like in the middle of the Atlantic, you'll never have such an abrupt change on a front. So, it just throws it at you, which is great.
And sort of different boat from the last time you've gone around, getting on this. What are the major differences?
Well, we were lucky enough with SCA that we had a Velvet 70 as our training boat. So this boat is very, very similar to that. So I had a bit of a head start.
Excellent. And what's next for you?
Probably a beer and a meat pie. Not quite sure. We're sailing the boat back to Brisbane tonight, so maybe a bit of shut-eye.